Hi there, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're in Australia, I hope you have your cup of tea and you're somewhere nice and warm because it's super cold in Australia at the moment. So today's story time, so let's get started. For those who are new to my channel, my name is Stella and I basically migrated in Australia 8 years ago to do a postgrad studies in Masters of Accounting. But prior to that, I had an undergraduate degree in development studies, things to do basically with economics. And in Kenya, where I'm originally from and where I studied from, I had maybe 2 years of experience working with non-governmental organizations. And at the time I was leaving, I was working as a business advisor for quite an influential business person, and I was happy in the career path that I was taking. However, I had thought about coming to Australia for quite a long time because I wanted to change my profession from development studies to being a professional accountant. And when I got the opportunity, as much as everything was really good at my job, I was working as a manager stroke business advisor, and I had seen such a big rise in income and in influence. I was really happy in Kenya at that point. But because the opportunity to come to Australia arose, and it's something that I always thought of, I thought, well, I don't want to miss out on this opportunity. I'm still young and I can study, so why not come to Australia? So I applied for my student visa and literally got my visa in a week. So actually a lot of my friends and peers were quite shocked by the quick move, and I just decided, well, it's time for me to move, and I came to Australia in the year 2015. Well, this is where everything changed, and I started studying at Curtin University in Western Australia. And at the time of studies, you're only allowed to work 20 hours a week. So with 20 hours a week, it's really hard to get into the corporate world because, corporate hours are normally 9 to 5. So what a lot of us students, international students, end up doing is doing the manual jobs. So during that study time of 2 years pursuing a postgrad study, I worked in different sectors. My first job actually was a cleaner. This one was really hard for me. It's something I'd never done before, and it was difficult to just come. It was difficult in the sense of trying to adapt to the change from being a business advisor to a cleaner. And I worked as a cleaner, and after 3 months, I got tired of that. I changed jobs. I did a certificate in aged care and became an assistant in nursing. After a year or so, I got tired of that and started working in retail. So during my 2 years studies, I worked as a cleaner, I worked as an assistant in nursing, and I worked in retail. So basically, this is the story for most students. But what I promised myself is that after I finished my accounting, I had to find a professional job. And I have met a lot of people who I came with in the year 2015 and still working their manual jobs. And some of them is by choice because they love doing being assistants in nursing. And some of them love their cleaning roles. Some of them are just so afraid of rejection. They're afraid to venture into the corporate world and to use their skills because these are qualified accountants, they are qualified economists, they are qualified, engineers, but they choose not to pursue their career path despite spending a lot of money. And a lot of them, from the ones that I've spoken to, is they're comfortable, they're making enough money. Actually, you make quite a lot of money in the manual jobs as compared to an entry level role. And also the fear of rejection, and also they do not have confidence that they could actually get into the corporate jobs. And I'm speaking on behalf of migrants here. So when I've completed my studies I'm deviating, is that I knew for sure I wanted to get a job in the corporate world. And what I did is I knew, first of all, I checked out a lot of jobs and I saw a lot of them had the requirement of, you need to be permanent resident or Australian. So I thought, well, there are companies that of course offer students to people with temporary visas, but I wanted to get the top companies, and I immediately decided to start pursuing my permanent resident, trying to get a permanent resident, one of the requirements is to have a great English score. So there are different English tests such as the PT and IELTS. So what I decided is I went to a school which was offering English classes to prepare you for the test. This was the PT test for about 2 weeks. This was just a very short course for 2 weeks. But when I was there, in my last week there, the teacher asked me, would you like to work for the organization? And I said, well, yeah, definitely. Everyone else, we were all graduates, we were all looking for jobs. And I said, of course. And he said he would speak to his manager and I could come and do an interview for the position of a graduate accountant in the college. And I was thrilled, I was so happy. And later on, I did the interview and I got the job. And of course, this was how I got my graduate role, and I was so excited. And later on, I asked the teacher, well, there were so many of us. Once I got comfortable and we got along, I asked her, what made you ask me? There were so many people looking for opportunities, but you chose me. You asked me whether I wanted to actually work for your company. And what he told me is that I demonstrated a lot of passion and a lot of eagerness to learn. But I'll tell you now, in hindsight, is that is definitely true. I remember I used to wake up so early, get to class 30 minutes before, do all my assignments, interact with everybody at the school. I'll say hi to the receptionist. If I met any of the managers on the road, I always stopped to have a little chit chat. And this is the back door to getting corporate jobs. It's of course, a lot of people think the only way is sending a resume and a cover letter, but there are so many back doors, and this is by how you present yourself. This is how you show up in everything you do. You never know really where the opportunity will arise. For me, I was just meant to be there for 2 weeks, but ended up actually staying in that job for almost 3 years, got my permanent residence and worked there and gained a lot of experience. And that opened the way when I left for a different role as an assistant accountant and went on to advance my career and now work for the government. But what I really want to say is that, especially to all the viewers who are looking for corporate roles, is that there are back doors, and these are the ones that are actually easy to navigate, because sometimes you send your resume and cover letter and 50 other people do, and it's sort of a matter of chance whether yours get picked or not. So what are the back doors? It's just showing up wherever you are. If you are in a, for example, aged care facility and you're working as a carer or assistant in nursing, is that you can just do whatever you need to do to the best of your ability. Interact with everybody in the organization. Don't be afraid of the manager. There were ones where you are, so say hello to them. Tell them what you need, what you look for. Tell them about your qualifications. Tell them, well, I'm an assistant in nurse, but I have also studied accounting and I would really love to get the opportunity, because, well, they say if you don't ask, you will not receive. So ask and it shall be given to you. You never know, really. The other thing I also want to emphasize is the power of networking. So I'd taken initiative to actually know my teacher on a personal level, ask them what their background was. I was genuinely interested with the people I was working with. I was surrounded with in the school. So please make sure you network. This is the easiest way to get into corporate. So as I wind up, I think one thing I want to say is, do not overstay your stay. So for those who are already working, I feel like staying there for 3 years in the same position, maybe I overstayed my stay. And I sort of want to say is that you need to know when to leave. You need to know when you've learned everything, you've done the work, and you require more growth. So for those who are in a graduate position or those who are assistant accountant, maybe it's time to challenge yourself to be an accountant. Everybody has to start from somewhere. And I was actually listening to an audiobook called Dopamine Nation by Anna Lambach. I hope I'm not mispronouncing her name. And she was talking about graduates in her graduate program as a psychologist, and she was saying that all the graduates that come, they always ask like, oh, how do I write a bestseller? She's written a couple of bestsellers, and she's like, how can I be the best psychologist? How can I be popular? How can I be the best psychologist in the country? And what Anne says is that you just need to do the work. You just need to do the work in the sense that don't look for that big thing. If you're a cleaner, empty the bins, wipe that dusty cupboard somewhere around the corner. Look, everyone, wherever you are, there's always work to be done. Focus on the work, and that will build up to something big. You don't wake up one day and you're a bestseller. You just do the work by maybe writing better emails. You do the work by maybe journaling. You do the work by those little small things will help you to organize your thoughts, and probably one day you can be a bestseller. So I want to encourage you. It doesn't matter whether you incorporate, it doesn't matter whether you're doing a manual job or wherever pathway you're taking, even for students. I encourage you to take the time to do the work, to show up as the best version of yourself. And I sincerely wish you all the best. Thank you so much for always coming back. It has been a pleasure. And don't forget to subscribe to Stories Down Under. Bye for now.